Oh, did I turn it too down? It's like a weirdly quiet music mix. For me, it sounds okay. Let me turn it up so at least it seems to register on. There we go. I don't know. I don't think that's so loud you can't hear me. But hello, we're back on stream. This is the random games thing, but we're gonna continue as we know it because, which I didn't. I originally said that we weren't going to because there was too much, but then off stream I was like, let's go, because I thought about it. I really wasn't happy with the ending that we got because it was just like, oh shit, people break in and then Judah's like, man, fuck you, and then that's it. Like that's not satisfying like at all. That doesn't that is fully. That's even like in visual novels you get like good endings and bad endings, and then there's like it's sometimes bad endings are like that where it's just like, oh, you died, well. But that one, like sometimes they give you bad endings that at least have the decency to give you like a CG or something. And this one doesn't. And it feels like especially like whatever when it doesn't. So I'm like, man, that's not satisfying. Not at all. If we had like a whole like ending of like tearfully like angry Jude rejecting you and walking away and some kind of thing, I would have been like, oh man, that's it. But no. So I just end up going through and like skipping everything and making the other decision in the beginning. And also the other reason I decided to do that was like looking at the guide which comes with the game. It even past doing this, there's like a tree of things that can affect like 4 more endings you can get. So I don't think it'll take us that long to get through it. I have like other games queued up to be at the end, and we're definitely not going to get more endings than this, but we gotta try. I don't know any of the music that's popping up. It's just nostalgic Nintendo Wii U music mix, and there's no listing. It just says coming soon. Okay, but yeah, we'll get to it. Hold on. Now that Streamlabs has changed stuff, I have to actually like stay on this while I get the game up. Oh wait, no, it's not in here. That's right. Oh, I gotta change it too because I tested out a different game to make sure that it worked while I was doing. I'm still using the general face tracker, which I stopped using a while ago because I didn't like it, and then it stopped working. So now I'm using it. The what is it? Not stop working. The hold on. Let's do one thing at a time. Why is it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we were using the audio lip sync thing so that even though I wouldn't have like eyebrows and blinks or like squints, I guess, and like a lot of times I blink and it'll like only blink one eye or something. That was the reason that I didn't like it. It was like squinting a lot, blinking singular. Oh, I think the sun in the corner is oh, all variable amounts and not recommended. Also not recommended for use of self voicing. No, we're gonna look at it after we get this ending, because I'm curious as to what that is. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, we're just doing general face tracking, which sometimes will not read my mouth, and sometimes you'll only get me like looking intensely at the things without supposedly mouthing any. I don't know. Like we'll see if it comes back on later. Let's load. I'm pretty sure. So this was the original one. It has to. Okay, it has to be like the. This is one that I made where I decided to pursue what's his name, the other guy. Which, interestingly, when I think about it, like all the oh yeah, you should close the doors endings are the boys that you choose, and all the I think the ones where it's like we should open the doors are the girls, which is strange that it's like that. I don't think it actually is saying anything, but it is weird how it lines up that way. But yeah, where are we? 38, 48. I think it's this one. Got out and had to grab a coffee before work. What is the history? Wait, let's just go. I'm pretty sure this is it because I think I just saved over my other one because it was like a shit ending. So I was like, who cares? It was just another day in the greenhouse. I made sure Brian was doing what he was supposed to and helped Jude get everything else done. Same old, same old. I got into bed and decided to spend the evening alone. Oh yeah, this is with the curfew. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, so my standing is huge now. I'm stressed out though, that's the thing. And I got the 5th heart for Jude, which is probably something I could only get. I think I actually did an extra random thing outside of work, but I think you could only get this much by not supporting opening the doors or something. But yeah. I woke up and rolled out of bed feeling a little more tired than usual. I got ready and headed into work. I walked in and waved to Jude. He looked tense. Is Brian missing again? As usual. He snapped at the rubber band on his wrist and sighed. Come on, let's get to work. I nodded and started to go over the inventory. I didn't get far. There was a loud explosion. The room shook and the hanging plant swung gently back and forth. Are you okay? Jude rushed to my side, but I was fine. What's going on? I don't know. We waited for something to be said over the intercom, but an announcement never came. We did learn through the shouting outside the halls that the entrance door had been blown open. We were under attack. A few security officers filtered in, accompanied by Sam, who looked ready for a fight. I decided to stay here with Jude. The place was large and hard to defend. He would need all the help he could get. Sam, Jude, and I stood around with a few other people who had come to help. Everyone spread out to cover all the doors, while Jude, Sam, and I stood at the main entrance. Sam leaned against one of the pillars and wondered out loud where Brian could have gone. She set the bat down that she had brought from the bar and threw her hands in the air in frustration. I kind of wonder if, because we don't know much about, I know Trevor feels like we should have opened the doors. Maybe Brian also feels like we should have opened the doors, but we never really got a sense from him. He was probably at the library with Trevor. That didn't make his absence easier. Then we heard gunfire. It came closer and closer, making us all tense. There were small explosions and the sounds of screaming and fighting. The sound only barely leaked into the greenhouse, with the hums of machinery almost drowning it out. The door rattled. It was locked, and as barred as we could make it. We glanced at each other nervously. I paused when I heard the click of the lock and a familiar voice on the other side. Guys. Shit. Of course he would come after everything was set up. I shared a look with Jude. It was tempting to just leave him out there. We moved and started to push away the barrier just enough so Brian could squeeze through the gap and get inside. Okay, so I was like, is he like helping the interaction? I guess not. Hold on a second. Yep. We thought you were at the library. Brian glanced around the area. I kind of thought you guys would be at the community center. Why? This is the first place they'll come. Besides, who wants to sit and wait in the community center? I opened my mouth to speak, but the words quickly died on my tongue. Brian retrieved a small polished revolver from behind his back and pointed at us. What are you doing? Nothing at all. I need help getting this place open, though. You want to move those barricades? Oh, fuck, he is. You little! A gunshot exploded in the room and echoed off the walls. I flinched, but he had fired up into the air. I'm not the bad guy here. Come on, help me out. Once the mayor's dead or runs away, everything can go back to how it was, but better. What are you talking about? Mayor Davidson is not what's best for Camden. Think of it about for at least a second and you'll figure that out. You're one of the rebels? What am I rebelling against exactly? People living in luxury while others die on the surface? Fall out of line, break one little rule, and get exiled? He calls himself a mayor, but he's a dictator. The Sandmen are better? She spit the words through gritted teeth. Brian should consider himself lucky that he had a gun. They aren't all that bad. Then you don't know him. I happen to know one of them very well. She's my twin sister, in fact. Remember her? Or telling me to shun my own flesh and blood? You're killing people. I'm saving everyone down here. It's fine if you don't see it that way now. Get rid of the barricades. We looked at each other. I wasn't sure what to do. Sam looked ready to claw his eyes out. Jude still looked shocked. Brian wiggled the gun at us to get moving. I glanced at Jude and Sam. Move it yourself. Oh, so I can turn my back to you? I don't think so. He pointed the gun at each of us in turn and spoke. Jude, expert. Ashlyn, a good hostage. Sam... Nope, I don't need you. No, don't shoot Sam! Another loud blast from the gun. This time was met with a sound of pain. Sam fell to the floor holding her leg. I'm not messing around with you, Jude. Move the barricade. Oh, fuck, man. Sam let out a string of curses as I moved to her side. The wound was bleeding pretty badly. It just kept bleeding. I didn't know what to do. Damn. Jude moved to shove things out of the way of the barricade. He looked pale and somewhat dazed. I glanced out and around the room for something to put against Sam's wound. Brian watched me move to get some clean fabric, usually used on the plants to retain moisture, but didn't stop me. I pressed him against Sam's wound and hoped it'd stop bleeding soon. Once that was done, Brian shook the gun at me and told me to join Jude. I did as he asked and sent a worried glance at Sam. I stood next to Jude and started to help him move one of the crates we had stacked up against the door. He touched my hand gently, and I looked up at him. I wish I could say I knew he was trying to tell me. Or he touched my hand. Okay. He tried to give me a meaningful look and then glanced at Brian. Then looked down at the crate and I saw that Sam's bat had ended up leaning up against it, just out of sight of Brian. Distract him. Got it. But how? Okay, things were starting to get important, so we're gonna have to start saving things, because I know that there's forks here and there. I just don't know where they are. Let's go to page 5 and use this as my, we're trying things. Trevor also supports this, so how about, ask about his sister. All this for your sister? Why? It's not just my sister. It was what was done to her. What the mayor did. Instead of allowing them to stay within Camden, the mayor kicked them out. I tried to keep him talking, but he wasn't falling for it. I headed back to help Jude move the barricades. I felt utterly hopeless. I couldn't do the one thing he needed, and now everything was over. Okay. Wait. The sound of Sam groaning in pain only made me feel worse. She desperately needed a doctor that she would not get to see. Once the barricades were dismantled, Brian made us sit with Sam. Jude held her hand as her face slowly drained of color. She had just never stopped bleeding. When the light faded from her eyes, I grabbed Jude and tried my best to console him. He was shaking and began to snap the rubber bands at his wrist rougher than I'd ever seen him do it before. I glared up at Brian as he continued to secure the greenhouse for the rebels and Sandmen. Some time passed, but no one was coming, at least no one that Brian wanted to see. I was so distracted by Jude that I didn't notice at one point he had snuck out without a word. He was soon replaced by security officers who moved in to help. It was too late for Sam, and they took her body away. Jude tried to fight them, but I stopped him. Camden had won, and the rebels and Sandmen had been pushed out. The fighting was over. None of that mattered to Jude, and I could feel that he was ready to lash out. I didn't know what to say. There was nothing I could say. I just stood by him and watched him start to fall apart as we were left alone. He cried, and I held him. He raged, and I stood by and let him. Eventually, the storm seemed to settle, and he sat beside me looking exhausted. He leaned against me, and I gently ran my hand through his hair in an attempt to comfort him. I still didn't speak. I sat there as he slowly grew limp beside me. He had fallen asleep. I could only hope my presence had helped him in some way and to stay by him while he mourned. I leaned against the wall we had collapsed against and tried to ignore that my arm was going numb under his weight. When it was over, I'd have to find Mom and check on her. I'd heard that she and the mayor had survived and were safe, but I'd still feel better seeing her with my own eyes. The fighting was done, at least. I didn't know how Jude would feel when he woke up or what tomorrow would bring for us. I knew one thing. Nothing would ever be the same again. Is this an ending? Ooh, it is. Unlock the There For You ending. Thanks for playing As We Know It. Okay. So let's see if loading the other one. What about Trevor? What about Trevor? Does he know about all this? He doesn't seem the Sandman type. When I said Trevor's name, I saw something pass in Brian's face. I turned and took a few steps towards him and away from Jude. I had to distract him. Get back to the door. I opened my mouth to say more, but he pointed the gun at my chest and made a show of moving his finger to the trigger. Shit. I turned back to help Jude. I headed back to help Jude move the barricades. I felt utterly hopeless. I couldn't do the one thing he needed now. Aw, really? Oh, it's the same one. There For You, Shattered Ties. Okay. What could I have done to make it better? Legitimately, it doesn't seem like there's a good ending here for me to get. I thought there would be something else, but it seems like no. What? Especially because I have, a lot of friendship with Trevor. I know that I have... What was it? Let's look at the guide. Fail to knock Brian out. Either befriend Trevor and choose what about Trevor, or befriend Sam and ask about his sister. Oh, okay, so you have to be, full friends? Man, I was basically friends with Trevor. That's too much. That's too much. What's the cheats look like? Okay. It doesn't look like there's much... I wonder what it is. Okay, let's... Let's just see. I don't know, we'll do whatever. I missed them too. Study the map. Also, Eva does, I'm just picking things. I'm like hoping that something will... No, it doesn't say anything. I don't know, man. Like, there's too much weird stuff that, like, I guess I would have had to also focus, either focus on, befriending. So you not only have to focus on, like, attracting one person, but befriending one person, which, man, like, that's more than I would have figured. Failed to knock a standing check. Okay, so, like, turns out if what I got was, like, I passed, Jude likes me a lot. If he didn't like me that much, there would be, like, some other bad ending. And also, if, like, I didn't have high standing in the thing, but high standing with Jude, we'd get 2 other endings. Man, this is actually pretty complicated. But yeah, I guess we really weren't gonna go that far in this. So we're gonna get out of here and do the next game. Okay, so I'm gonna load a game which is called Cardinal Chains. And I say that so that that is where I will change the stream thing for when I split these up. I should actually keep Twitch open.